This command, the fillet command, is a much easier way to draw arcs than to try to figure out which one of the 11 different ways of drawing an arc you might want to use. Um, the fillet command is abbreviated with an F, so I'll type in an F and hit enter, and we're into the fillet command. And it immediately prompts you to select the first object. But I want you to understand, oh, no, hang on. I was playing around with this command a little bit earlier today, so it's got a radius set of 0, or excuse me, set of 0.5. Out of the box, or when you first started drawing with AutoCAD, the radius is going to be set to 0. I'm going to set the radius by picking radius off of the command prompt back to 0, and just show you that if the radius is set to 0, okay, and you pick a corner such as this, you pick the first object and the second object, nothing happens because it laid in a 0 radius arc, and that's kind of what you had to begin with. But that can be a nice tool if you've got an overextended corner like these two here. If I hit enter to repeat the fillet command and I don't change the radius, you can see the radius is set to 0. If I pick this and I pick that, it can be used to clean up a corner very nicely. Now hit enter to repeat the last command and do it here. It trims back both lines. I'll hit enter to repeat it again and pick here and pick here, and it extends to create the corner. So it creates a nice clean corner when you have the radius set to 0. So that can be an advantage. I'm going to type in a U, which is the undo command, and undo that, and then I'm going to hit enter to repeat the last command. Now that's undone, and I'm going to hit enter again to repeat the last command, and now that's undone, because I want to show you using the fillet command the correct way, and that's to grab your fillet command and then set the radius, and then we'll set it to 3/8, 0.375, and I will then pick the first object like it asked me to, and I'll pick the second object, and it rounds off that corner just like we kind of expect it to. That's what the fillet command does. It rounds off the corner. I'm going to hit enter to repeat the last command. Notice that the radius of the previously used fillet command stays set, so I pick that, cleans up the corner, hit enter, cleans up the corner. Okay, you can change the radius anytime you want. It'll remain that way till you change it to something different. I'll hit enter again to repeat the last command and grab fillet, and of course, just like when we had a 0 radius, it extended, and in this case it extended or filled in that corner a little bit. I was working with 90-degree corners here. If I hit enter to repeat the last command, they don't have to be 90-degree corners. Okay, that's an acute angle. If I hit enter to repeat that last command and grab this and that, it can be an obtuse corner like that also. We also don't have to be working just with lines like I did right there. If I hit enter to repeat that last fillet command, and I grab this and I grab that, it fillets off those arcs, laying in a nice tangent 0.375 radius arc. If I pick this arc and this line, notice that it's going to fillet towards my pick point. If I went on this side, it would fillet towards that. Oh, I don't have a radius that's 0.375. It's going to be too big, and it would lay itself in that long. I'm going to hit escape, and I'm just going to use a command we haven't talked about yet, the move command, and I'm going to kind of move that over this way. And then I'll do fillet again. I might still be too tight to do that. Still can't do that. I'm going to move it down. A lot of trouble just to convince you that the fillet command can go in either direction, but you get the drift. There we go. I can go that way, or I can go that way. So it's going to lay in that 3/4 inch or that 3/8 inch radius arc towards your two pick points. I'll hit enter to repeat the last command. And I could do circles. With lines and arcs, it does trimming. With circles, it just leaves the circles intact. Okay? And I can do that all sorts of different ways here. Whoops. These are too tight to each other to get that 3/8 radius in there at all. To kind of prove that out, I'll draw the circle, and I'll just put a circle over here with a radius of 0.375, and then I will move this circle, grabbing hold of it at the center point. You can kind of see that nowhere can I have that 3/4 inch radius arc that's not going to push those circles away from each other. So that's why that wouldn't lay itself in here. Again, if I did a fillet, leaving the radius at 0.375 between this line and this arc, or excuse me, the circle is left intact. The line gets trimmed. If I go this way, circle's left intact, and the line gets extended or trimmed. So that's your fillet command. Lastly, when I've got two parallel lines, if I use the fillet command and pick these two, it'll automatically adjust the radius to half the distance. It senses that these two lines are parallel to each other. Notice that the first line becomes the boss, so to speak. That ends right here, so that line gets trimmed, that upper line gets trimmed back. If I pick here first, now this line becomes the boss, and this line gets extended. So it's the second entity that gets modified if any modification has to take place. So that filleting of parallel lines, that's one of those tricks that not a lot of people know about. But there's all your different possible applications of the fillet command.